This is the book of the Secrets of Enoch, the son of Arad, a man wise and beloved of God. There was a very wise man and a worker of great things. God loved him and received him, so that he should see the heavenly abodes, the kingdoms of the wise, great, inconceivable, and never-changing God, the Lord of all, the wonderful and gracious and bright and all-beholding station of the servants of the Lord, and the unapproachable throne of the Lord, and the degrees and manifestations of the incorporeal hosts, and should be eyewitness of the unspeakable ministrations of the multitude of creatures, and of the varying appearance and indescribable singing of the host of cherubim, and of the immeasurable world. At that time he said, "Hardly had I accomplished 165 years when I begat my son Methuselah. After that I lived 200 years, and accomplished all the years of my life, 365 years. On the first day of the month I was alone in my house, and I rested on my bed and slept. And as I slept, a great grief came upon my heart, and I wept with my eyes in my dream, and I could not understand what this grief meant, or what would happen to me. And there appeared to me two men very tall, such as I have never seen on earth, and their faces shone like the sun, and their eyes were like burning lamps, and fire came forth from their lips. Their dress had the appearance of feathers, their feet were purple, their wings were brighter than gold, their hands whiter than snow. They stood at the head of my bed and called me by my name. I awoke from my sleep and saw clearly these men standing in front of me. I hastened and made obeisance to them, and was terrified, and the appearance of my countenance was changed from fear. And these men said to me, "Be of good cheer, Enoch, be not afraid. The everlasting God has sent us to thee, and lo, today thou shalt ascend with us into heaven, and tell thy sons and thy servants, all who work in thy house, and let no one seek thee till the Lord bring them back to them. Till the Lord bring thee back to them." And I hastened to obey them, and went out of my house. And I called my sons Methuselah, Regem, and Gadal, and told them what wonderful things the two men had said to me. "Hear me, my children, for I do not know whither I am going, nor what awaits me. Now, my children, I say unto you, turn not aside from God. Walk before the face of the Lord, and keep his judgments. Do not worship vain gods, who did not make heaven and earth. For these will perish, and also those who worship them. But may God make confident your hearts in the fear of him. And now, my children, let no one seek me till the Lord brings me back to you." Chapter 3. It came to pass, when I had spoken to my sons, these men summoned me, and took me on their wings, and placed me on the clouds, and lo, the clouds moved, and again going higher, I saw in the air, and going still higher, I saw the ether, and they placed me in the first heaven, And they showed me a very great sea, greater than the earthly sea. Chapter 4. And they brought me before my face the elders and the rulers of the orders of the stars. And they showed me the 200 angels who ruled the stars and their heavenly service. And they fly with their wings and go around all the stars as they float. Chapter 5. And then I looked and saw the treasuries of the snow and ice, and the angels who guard their terrible store places, and the treasuries of the clouds from which they came forth, and into which they enter. Chapter 6. And they showed me the treasuries of the dew, like oil for anointing, and its form was in appearance like that of the earthly colours. Also many angels keeping their treasuries, and they shut and open them. Chapter 7. And the men took me and brought me to the second heaven and showed me the darkness. And there I saw the prisoners suspended, received for and awaiting their eternal judgment. And these angels were gloomy in appearance, more than the darkness of the earth. And they unceasingly wept every hour, and I said to the men who were with me, Why are these men continually tortured? And the men answered me, These are they who apostatized from the Lord, who obeyed not the commandments of God, and took counsel of their own will, and transgressed together with their prince, and have been already confined to the second heaven. And I felt great pity for them. And lo, the angels made obstinance to me, and said to me, O man of God, pray for us to the Lord. And I answered them, Who am I, a mortal man, that I should pray for angels? Who knows whether I go, or what awaits me, or who prays for me? Chapter 8. And these men took me from thence, and brought me to the third heaven, and placed me in the midst of a garden, a place such as has never been known for the goodliness of its appearance. And I saw all the beautiful trees and beautiful colours of their fruits, ripe and fragrant, and all kinds of fruit which they produced, springing up with delightful fragrance. And in the midst there is the tree of life, in that place on which God rests when he comes into paradise. And this tree cannot be described for its excellence and sweet odour, and it is beautiful more than any created thing. And on all sides in appearance it is like gold and crimson and transparent as fire, and it covers everything. From its root in the garden there go forth 4 streams which pour honey and milk, oil and wine, and are separated in 4 directions, and go about with a soft course. And they go down to the paradise of Eden, between corruptibility and incorruptibility. And thence they go along the earth, and have a revolution in their circle, like also the other elements. And there is another tree, an olive tree, always distilling oil, and there is no there is no tree there without fruit, and every tree is blessed. And there are 300 angels of glorious who keep the garden. There are 300 angels, very glorious, who keep the garden, and with never ceasing voices and blessed singing they serve the Lord every day. And I said, What a very blessed place this is. And those men spake unto me. Sorry, I just have to put my phone on charge just a minute. This place, O Enoch, is prepared for the righteous who endure every kind of attack in their lives, from those who afflict their souls, who turn away their eyes from unrighteousness, and accomplish a righteous judgment, and also give bread to the hungry, and clothe the naked, and raise the fallen, and assist the orphans who are oppressed, and who walk without blame before the face of the Lord, and serve him only. For them this place is prepared as an eternal inheritance. And the men then led me to the northern region, and showed me there a very terrible place. And there are all sorts of tortures in that place, savage darkness and impenetrable gloom. And there is no light there, but a gloomy fire is always burning, and a fiery river goes forth. And all that place has fire on all sides, and on all sides cold and ice. Thus it burns and freezes. And the prisoners are very savage, and the angels terrible and without pity, carrying savage weapons, and their torture was unmerciful. And I said, Whoa, whoa, how terrible is this place? And the men said to me, This place, Enoch, is prepared for those who do not honour God, who commit evil deeds on earth, Vitium, Sodom, Acum, witchcraft, enchantments, devilish magic, and those who boast of their evil deeds, stealing, lying, calamities, envy, evil thoughts, fornication, and murder, who steal the souls of the wretched men, oppressing the poor and spoiling them of their possessions, and themselves grow rich by taking of other men's possessions, injuring them, who, when they might feed the hungry, allow them to die of famine, who, when they might clothe them, strip them naked, who do not know their Creator and have worshipped gods without life, who neither see nor hear, being vain gods, and have fashioned the forms of idols, and bow down to an incontemptible thing made with hands. For all these, this place is prepared for an eternal inheritance. And the men took me and conducted me to the fourth heaven, and showed me all the comings and goings forth, and all the rays of the light of the sun and moon. And I measured their goings, and computed their light. And I saw that the sun has a light 7 times greater than the moon. I beheld their circle, and their chariot on which it goes, like a wind, advancing with astonishing swiftness. And they have no rest, day or night, coming or going. There are 4 great stars. Each star has under it 1,000 stars at the right of the chariot of the sun, and 4 at the left, each having under it 1,000 stars. Altogether 8,000. 15 myriads of angels go out with the sun, and attend him during the day, and by night 1,000. Each angel has 6 wings. They go before the chariot of the sun, and 100 angels keep warm and light up the sun. And I saw, and I looked, other flying creatures, their names, phoenixes, and Chokajee, wonderful and strange in appearance, with the feet and tails of lions and the heads of crocodiles. Their appearance was of a purple colour, like the rainbow. Their size, 900 measures. Their wings were like those of angels, each with 12. And they attend the chariot of the sun and go with them, bringing heat and dew as they are ordered by God. So the sun makes his revolutions and goes under the heaven and goes under the earth with the light of his beams unceasingly. These men brought me to the east and showed me the gates by which the sun goes forth at the appointed seasons, and according to the revolution of the months of the whole year, and according to the number of the hours, day and night. And I saw the 6 great gates open, each gate having 61 stadia, and a quarter of a stadium. And I truly measured them and understood their size to be so much, by which the sun goes forth, and he goes to the west and makes his course correspond. And he proceeds through all the months. And by the first gates he goes out 42 days, by the second gates 35 days, by the fourth gates 35, by the fifth gates 35, by the sixth gates 45. And so he returns from the 6th gates in the course of time, and he enters by the 5th gates during 35 days, and by the 4th gates 35, by the 3rd gates during 35 days, by the 2nd gates 35. And so the days of the whole year are finished according to the alternation of the 4 seasons. And then these men took me to the west of the heavens and showed me 6 great gates open, corresponding with the eastern gates, opposite to which the sun goes out by the eastern gates, according to the number of the days, 365 and a quarter of a day. So he sits by the western gates. When he goes out by the western gates, 400 angels take his crown and bring it to the Lord, and the sun revolves in his chariot and goes without light for 7 complete hours in the night. And when he comes near the east, at the 8th hour of the night, the 400 angels bring him his crown and crown him. Then sang the creatures of the phoenixes and the chokajee. On this account, every bird claps its wings, rejoicing at the giver of light. And they sang a song at the command of the Lord. The giver of light comes to give his brightness to the whole world. And they showed me the calculation of the going of the sun, and the gates by which he enters and goes out of are great gates, which God made for the computation of the year. On this account the sun is great. The other, the computation of the moon. These men showed me all the goings and revolutions. And they pointed out the gates to me, 12 great gates extended from the west to the east, by which the moon enters and goes out at the customary times. She enters the first gate when the sun is in the west, 31 days exactly. By the second gate, 31 days exactly. By the third gate, 30 days exactly, and the fourth gate 30 days exactly. By the fifth gate 30 days exactly. By the sixth gate 31 days exactly. By the seventh gate 30 days exactly. By the eighth gate 31 days exactly. By the ninth gate 31 days exactly. By the 10th gate 30 exactly. By the 11th gate, 31 days exactly. By the 12th gate, 28 days exactly. And so by the western gates in her revolutions, and corresponding to the number of the eastern gates she goes and accomplishes the year. And unto the sun there are 365 and a quarter of 1 day. But in the lunar year there are 364 days, making 12 months of 29 days. And there remain 11 days over, which belong to the solar circle of the whole year, and are lunar epochs of the whole year. Thus the great circle has 532 years. The fourth part of 1 day is neglected during the 3 years, and the fourth year completes it exactly. On account of this, they are omitted from the heavens during 3 years, and are not added to the number of the days, on which account these changes the seasons of the year in 2 new months to make the number complete, and there are 2 others to diminish. And when she has gone through the western gates, and returns, and goes to the eastern with her light, and so she goes day and night in the heavenly circles, below all the circles, more quickly than the winds of the heavens. And there are spirits and creatures and angels flying with 6 wings to each of the angels. And 7 months are computed to the circle of the moon during a revolution of 19 years. In the middle of the heavens, I saw an armed host serving the Lord with cymbals and organs and unceasing voice. I was delighted at hearing it. The man took and brought me up into the 5th heaven, and I saw there many hosts, not to be counted, called Grigori, Grigori, and their appearance was like men, and their size was greater than that of the giants. And their countenances were withered, and their lips are always silent. And there was no service in the 5th heaven. And I said to the men who were with me, why are these men very withered, and their faces melancholy, and their lips silent? And there is no service in this heaven. And they said to me, these are the Grigori, who, with their prince Satanel, rejected the Holy Lord, and in consequence of these things they are kept in great darkness in the 2nd heaven. And of them there went 3 to the earth from the throne of God to the place Hermon, and they entered into dealings on the side of Mount Hermon. And they saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and took unto themselves wives, and they made the earth foul with their deeds, and they acted lawlessly in all times of this age, and wrought confusion. And the giants were born, and the strangely tall men, and there was much wickedness. And on account of this God judged them with a mighty judgment, and they lamented for their brethren, and they will be punished at the great day of the Lord. And I said to the Grigori, I have seen your brethren and their works and their great torments, and I have prayed for them, but God has condemned them to be under the earth till the heaven and earth are ended forever. And I said, why do ye wait, brethren, and not serve before the face of the Lord, and perform your duties before the face of the Lord, and do not anger your Lord to the end? And they listened to my rebuke, and they stood in the 4 orders in this heaven. And lo, as I was standing with these men, 4 trumpets resounded together with a loud voice. And the Grigori sang with one voice, and their voices went forth before the Lord with sadness and tenderness. And these men took me thence, and brought me to the 6th heaven. And I saw there 7 bands of angels, very bright and glorious, and their faces shining more than the rays of the sun. They are resplendent, and there is no difference in their countenance, or their manner, or the style of their clothing. And these orders arrange the study, the revolutions of the stars, and the changes of the moon, and the revolutions of the sun, and superintended the good or evil condition of the world. And they arrange teachings and instructions, and sweet speaking and singing, and all kinds of glorious praise. These are the archangels who are appointed over the angels. They hold in subjection all living things, both in heaven and earth. And there are the angels who are over seasons and years, and the angels who are over rivers and seas, and those who are over the fruits of the earth, and the angels over every herb, giving all kinds of nourishment to every living thing. And the angels over the souls of men, who write down all their works and their lives before the face of the Lord. In the midst of them are 7 phoenixes, and 7 cherubims, and 7 6-winged creatures, being as one voice and singing with one voice. And it is not possible to describe their singing. And they rejoice before the Lord at his footstool. And these men took me thence and brought me to the 7th heaven. And I saw there a very great light, and all the fiery hosts of the archangels, and incorporeal powers, and lordships, and principalities, and powers, cherubim and seraphim, thrones, and the watchful eyes of many. There were 10 troops, a station of brightness. And I was afraid and trembling with great terror. And those men took hold of me and brought me into their midst and said to me, Be of good cheer, Enoch, be not afraid. And they showed me the Lord from afar, sitting on his lofty throne. And all the heavenly hosts, having approached, stood on the 10 steps according to their rank, and made obeisance to the Lord. And so they proceeded to their places in joy and mirth, and in boundless light, singing songs with low and gentle voices, and gloriously serving him. They leave not, nor depart day or night, standing before the face of the Lord, working his will. Cherubim and seraphim, standing around his throne, and the 6-winged creatures overshadow all his throne, singing with a soft voice before the face of the Lord. Holy, 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 Lord God of the Sabbath, heaven and earth are filled of thy glory. When I had seen all these things, these men said unto me, Enoch, up to this time we have been ordered to accompany thee. And those men departed from me, and I saw them no more, and I remained alone at the extremity of the heaven, and was afraid, and fell on my face, and said within myself, Woe is me, what has come upon me? And the Lord sent one of his glorious archangels, Gabriel, and he said to me, Be of good cheer, Enoch, be not afraid. Stand up, and come with me, and stand up before the face of the Lord forever. And I answered him and said, O Lord, my spirit has departed from me with fear and trembling. Call to me the men who have brought me to this place. Upon them I have relied, and with them I would go before the face of the Lord. And Gabriel hurried me away like a leaf carried off by the wind, and he took me, and he set me before the face of the Lord. And I fell down and worshipped the Lord, and the Lord spoke with his lips to me. Be of good cheer, Enoch, be not afraid. Rise up and stand before my face forever. And Michael, the chief captain, lifted me up and brought me before the face of the Lord. And the Lord said to his servants, making trial of them, Let Enoch come to stand before my face forever. And the glorious ones made obeisance to the Lord and said, Let Enoch proceed according to thy word. And the Lord said to Michael, "Go and take from Enoch his earthly robe, and anoint him with my holy oil, and clothe him with the raiment of my glory." And so Michael did as the Lord spake unto him. He anointed me and clothed me with the appearance of that oil was more than a great light, and its anointing was like excellent dew, and its fragrance like myrrh, shining like a ray of the sun. And I gazed upon myself, and I was like one of his glorious ones, and there was no difference, and fear and trembling departed from me. And the Lord called one of his archangels, named Veritul, who was more wise than the other archangels, and wrote down all the doings of the Lord. And the Lord said to Veritul, "Bring forth the books from my store places, and give a reed to Enoch, and interpret to him the books." And Veritul made haste and brought me the books, fragrant with myrrh, and gave me a reed from his hand. And he told me all the works of heaven and the earth and the sea and their goings and comings, the noise of the thunder, the sun and moon, and the movement of the stars, their changings, the seasons and years, days and hours, and going of the winds, and the number of the angels, the songs of the armed hosts, and everything relating to man, and every language of their songs, and the lives of men, and the precepts and instructions, and sweet-voiced singings, and all which it is suitable to be instructed in. And Veritul instructed me 30 days and 30 nights, and his lips never ceased speaking. And I did not cease 30 days and 30 nights writing all the remarks. Veritul said to me, "All the things which I have told thee, thou hast written down. Sit down and write all about the souls of men, those of them which are not born, and the places prepared for them forever. For every soul was created eternally before the foundation of the world. And I wrote all out continuously during 30 days and 30 nights, and I copied all out accurately, and I wrote 366 books. And the Lord called me and said to me, Enoch, sit thou at my left hand with Gabriel. And I made obeisance to the Lord. And the Lord spake to me, Enoch, the things which thou seest at rest and in motion were completed by me. I will tell thee now, even from the first, what things I created from the non-existent, and what visible things from the invisible. Not even to my angels have I told my secrets, nor have I informed them of their origin, nor have they understood my infinite creation, which I tell thee today. For before anything which is visible existed, I alone held my course among the invisible things, like the sun from the east to the west, and from the west to the east. But even the sun has rest in himself, but I did not find rest, because I was creating everything. And I planned to lay the foundations and to make the visible creation. And I commanded in the depths that invisible things should come out of invisible. And out came a doyle very great, and I gazed upon him. And lo, his colour was red, of great brightness. And I said unto him, Burst asunder, a doyle, and let that which comes from thee be visible. And he burst asunder, and there came forth a great light, and I was in the midst of a great light. And as the light came forth from the light there came forth the great world, revealing all the creation which I had proposed to make. And I saw that it was good. And I made for myself a throne, and I sat upon it. And I said to the light, Go forth on high, and be established above my throne, and be the foundation for things on high. And there was nothing higher than the light, and as I reclined, I saw it from my throne. And I summoned a second time from the depths and said, Let the solid thing which is visible come forth from the invisible. And Archas came forth, firm and heavy and very red. And I said, Behold, thou divideth, O Archas, and let that be seen which is produced from thee. And when he was divided, the world came forth very dark and great, bringing the creation of all things below. And I saw that it was good. And I said to him, Go thou down and be established, and be a foundation for things below. And so it was, and it came forth and was established, and was a foundation for things below, and there was nothing else below the darkness. And I ordered that there should be a separation between the light and the darkness, and I said, Let there be a thick substance, and it was so. And I spread this out, and there was water, and I spread it over the darkness below the light, and thus I made firm the waters, that is, the depths, and I surrounded the waters with light, and I created 7 circles, and I fashioned them like crystal, moist and dry, that is to say, like glass and ice. And as for the waters and also the other elements, I showed each of them their paths, to the 7 stars, each of them in their heaven, how they should go. And I saw that it was good. And I separated between the light and the darkness, that is to say, between the waters here and there. And I said to the light, Let it be day, and to the darkness, let it be night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. And thus I made firm the circles of the heavens, and caused the waters below, which are under the heavens, to be gathered into one place, and that the waves should be dried up. And it was so. Out of the waves I made firm the great stones, and out of the stones I heaped together a dry substance. And I called the dry substance earth. And in the midst of the earth I appointed a pit, that is to say, an abyss. I gathered the sea into one place, and I restrained it with a yoke. And I said to the sea, Lo, I give thee an external portion. I give thee an eternal portion, and thou shalt not move from thy established position. So I made fast the firmament, and fixed it above the water. This I called the first day of creation. Then it was evening, and again morning. It was the second day. And for all the heavenly hosts I fashioned a nature like that of fire, and my eye gazed on every firm and hard stone. And from the brightness of my eye the lightning received its wonderful nature. And fire is in the water, and water in the fire, and neither is the one quenched, nor the other dried up. On this account lightning is brighter than the sun, and soft water is stronger than hard stone. And from the stone I cut the mighty fire, and from the fire I made the ranks of the spiritual hosts, 10,000 angels, and their weapons are fiery, and their garments is a burning flame, and I ordered them to stand each in their ranks. One of these in the ranks of the archangels, having turned away, with the rank below him, entertained an impossible idea, that he should make his throne higher than the clouds over the earth, and should be equal in rank to my power. And I hurled him from the heights with his angels, and he was flying in the air continually above the abyss. And so I called all the heavens, and it was the third day. And on the third day I ordered the earth to produce great trees, each as fruit, bear fruit, and mountains, and every sort of herb, and every seed that is sown. And I planted paradise, and enclosed it, and placed fiery angels armed, and I made a renewing. Then it was evening. It was morning, being the fourth day. On the fourth day I ordered that there should be great lights in the circles of the heavens. In the first and highest circle I placed the star Chrono, in the second Aphrodite, on the third Aries, on the fourth the sun, on the fifth Zeus, on the sixth Hermes, on the seventh the moon. And the lower air I adorned with the lesser stars. And I placed the sun to give light to the day, and the moon and the stars to give light to the night. The sun that he should go according to each sign of the zodiac, and the course of the moon through the 12 signs of the zodiac. And I fixed their names and existence, the thunderers and the revolutions of the hours, how they take place. Then it was evening and the morning, the fifth day. On the fifth day I commanded the sea to produce fish and winged fowls of all kinds, and all things that crept upon the earth, and the 4-footed things that go about the earth, and the things that fly in the air, male and female, and every living thing breathing with life. And it was evening and morning, the sixth day. On the sixth day I ordered my wisdom to make man of 7 substances, his flesh from the earth, his blood from the dew, his eyes from the sun, his bones from the stones, his thoughts from the swiftness of the angels and the clouds, his veins and hair from the grass of the earth, his spirit from my spirit and from the wind. And I gave him 7 natures, hearing to his body, sight to his eyes, smell to the perception, touch to the veins, taste to the blood, the bones for endurance, sweetness for thought. I proposed a subtle thing. From the invisible nature I made man. From both are his death and life, and his form. And the word was like a deed, both small in a great thing, and great in a small thing. And I placed him upon the earth, like a second angel, in an honourable, great, and glorious way. And I made him a ruler, to rule upon the earth, and to have my wisdom. And there was no one like him upon the earth of all my creations. And I gave him a name from the 4 substances, the east, the west, the north, and the south. And I appointed for him 4 special stars, and I gave him the name Adam. And I gave him his will, and I showed him the 2 ways, the light and the darkness. And I said unto him, this is good, and this is evil, that I should know whether he has love for me or hate, that he should appear in his race as loving me. I knew his nature, he did not know his nature. Therefore his ignorance is a woe to him, that he should sin, and I appoint death on account of his sin. And I caused him to sleep, and he slumbered. And I took from him a rib, and I made him a wife. And by his wife death came. And I received his last word, and I called her by a name, the mother, that is Eve. Okay, I'll leave this reading here and I'll continue it on at another time.